And today for you, we got a good one. So we are at the trade deadline, as you can see, just a week before. This is when I usually do my trades, just to make things a little bit interesting. Don't want to back it up all on the 31st. See our record up there, 42 and 56. We're only 14 games under 500, but you see we're 19 games out of first place, and things aren't really much better for the wild card. We are second to last in the NL in terms of records, so no real surprises, and we are, of course, big-time sellers at the deadline. So let's break down some of the things that have happened over the last 2 months since draft day. So we picked up a couple injuries. Oliver Perez, he dislocated his shoulder. He ended up on the 60-day IL. Probably just going to cut him when he comes back. He wasn't necessarily doing that much for us, so not really going to lament losing him. Big time loss for us, and more frustrating and just disappointing, was Jameson Hanna. He was just starting to heat up down there in Double-A, bringing those numbers up. You look at the on-base percentage, doing well, but he picked up a torn MCL, which has knocked him out for the season, which was really disappointing. As you can see, we got his overall up to a 67, really going to stunt his development, which is kind of frustrating. But that's okay. We're going to move on forward, and we're going to hope that he comes back stronger next season. So to spark our MLB roster, we actually reorganized the lineup a little bit. We moved Raimel Tapia up to number 2 in the order, and man, did he shine. 280 average and a 464 slugging percentage. He's definitely going to be one of the top guys looking to be traded at the deadline this year. I think with his performance level, even though we got a lot of service time left, he's only 27. I think we're going to look to move him. Just he's capitalized on this high performance. So look at guys like Charlie Blackmon. He was doing pretty well. Stayed hot off the start. Trevor Story, he maintained. Ryan McMahon still incredibly struggling. Just a really, really bad year for him all around. Unfortunate to see. CJ Crone, he really picked up his performance. He's going to be a trade chip here at the deadline. Garrett Hampson, he came back from injury, but not playing very well. And Chris Owings, we actually did move into our lineup against lefties, and he picked it up. He started to hit really well against lefties, so that moved him into some trade discussions as well. Look down at some of the farm players. Nick Longy continues to play well at AAA. He'll probably earn a call-up probably after trade season is over. Brendan Rodgers did start to pick it up, but then fell apart again. Gonna probably get him into the majors just by default after the deadline is all done. Let's see what else here. Ryan Vlade continues to murder the baseball in Double-A. I really should consider moving up to Triple-A, but man, I'm just enjoying this a little too much. 343, 423, 506 slash line. It's just insane. I probably will move him up after trade deadline here. We were forced to move Michael Toglia up into Double-A. I was satisfied with his division, so I'm okay with that. Willie McIver, he's picked up his batting average a little bit, although the slugging percentage has started to fall down a little bit. Just to keep you guys up on a couple of moves, we also DFA'd Matt Adams as Garrett Hampson came off the 60-day IL. Really didn't see any need for him. I really liked how Connor Joe was playing as the backup first baseman, and he's got some ability to play outfield as well, so didn't see a need for Matt Adams. And then we also DFA'd Antonio Santatello, who was subsequently picked up by the Pirates as Robert Stevenson returned off the IL. And so let's take a look at our pitching rotation. German Marquez really settled down, pitching well, got that FIP under 4 as well. Gomber still trying to find his footing after missing the first 2 months of the season with an injury. John Gray, really great performance. We're definitely going to move him at the deadline this year. Really happy to be able to get a good return from him. Freeland, been up and down, but kind of a steady rotation piece. And Brad Peacock continues to be great. We're going to look to move him at the deadline. We moved him to starting pitcher. I'm going to show you why and when we get to the trades. Bullpen-wise, Scott Oberg, one of our top trade chips, pitched very well. He's going to be gone here. Tyler Kinley actually pitched pretty well, and he might be a surprise move as well at the deadline. And then Daniel Bard, again, got that overall up to 74. Going to be trying to move him as well. Ryan Castellani continues to impress. He's only up to a 70 overall. We might look to get him into the majors and capitalize on his hot performances right now. Lucas Gilbreth really performing well as that lefty. Going to look to get him as well as Ben Bowden up in the majors very, very soon here. And then down here, Ryan Rollison pitching okay down at AA. Probably going to stay there all season. Don't really see a reason to push him to AAA quite yet. But the two guys I want to point out here are my B potential relievers and Tommy Doyle. He's pitching really well down there. And Tony Losi really killing and picking up a lot of strikeouts. So, going to take you guys over to my trade block now, just to show you who is on the block for us. Ignore those teams interested. What I did is I looked at which teams were in certain division leads or whatnot, and basically in the playoff hunt, and then determine my own buyers and sellers, and then determine which needs of those buyers I could possibly trade to. And that's how I work these trades off screen that I'll show to you in a minute. So we got Trevor Story here, decent slash line, not his best season, but definitely still 93 overall, really good trade piece, very popular. German Marquez, already showed you some of his numbers. He really settled in after a slow start. Scott Oberg, just good throughout the season. Raimel Tapia, we showed you that slash line. We're going to capitalize on his performance this year to get a strong return for him. CJ Crone, again, big-time lefty smasher, DH possible, a lot of power, so he's going to be moved. John Gray, Charlie Blackmon, whom, yes, I don't understand why he's losing overall, but he is, and it's going to hurt us a little bit on our return, although I got a pretty good return. You guys can tell me what you think. Tyler Kinley, Brad Peacock, and Daniel Bard round out the end of what I have here for my trade pieces. So let's get to the trades themselves. And the first one we're going to work with is Trevor Story. And the team that I'm going to trade him to is actually the Minnesota Twins. Now, they are actually in first place in the AL Central, just ahead of the Chicago White Sox. And Andrelton Simmons, as you can see, they signed him in the offseason. He is not batting well at all. Still performing, great defensively, but his offensive numbers just not quite cutting it. And to get them a little bit more offensive help, I'm going to send Story. Can use him as a DH. Can just use him as a regular shortstop. Let Simmons come off the bench. I'll leave that up to them. But we're going to start first by asking for the big Canadian, Jordan Balazovic, from them. Give me a nice B potential right-handed pitcher, not too far away from the majors. So I like that piece there. Then we're going to move over to second base, Travis Blankenhorn. Playing pretty well at AAA. You see he's got that potential bump into the B range, 68 overall. Not killing it with the power. Decent batting average. Really like his kind of potential to play at some different positions. This is a nice little piece for us. And then I'm going to go for Trevor Larnach. This is the biggest piece of the trade, I think. Not a huge power guy, but pretty strong contact abilities. Doing a pretty good job. See, he's hitting 343 at AAA. So as you can see up there, they're not quite happy with the return. And this is the reason that I moved Brad Peacock to starting pitcher. So I actually did this trade, and it worked well. Brad Peacock was a relief pitcher. I moved him to starting pitcher because, as you can see, their starters have not pitched very well. Lewis Thorpe, he's out with an injury for a couple months. So they really did need a back-end starting pitcher, and Peacock should perform well for them and then also move to the bullpen if needed to as well. So we're going to finish that deal up. And then we are going to move on to German Marquez. Probably our best trade chip, I think, with his overall potential, a lot of controllability left, and his age. And we are going to trade him to the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays are in the thick of it in the AL East as well as the AL wild card, but you can see really struggling with their pitching right now to try to stay in this race. They also have some young studs coming up pretty soon, but with that controllable arm that Marquez is, they're going to be pretty interested in this guy. So for them, I really wanted to focus on Gabriel Moreno mostly because we really need a catcher, some type of a high upside guy at that position. Catchers are hard to find in, baseball just in general, so we want to get him. And they already have Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk, so this really doesn't hurt them too much to make this move. And then from there, we're going to pick up another second baseman in Miguel Geraldo. I know we just drafted one that's going to be pretty good, who's only 19, and then we just picked up Blankenhorn as well. But Geraldo's kind of splitting that difference. He's only 20, B potential. Kind of like his makeup, especially his ability to hit left-handers pretty well. And then we're going to close out this offer by picking up Austin Martin, another B potential center fielder, 64 overall, like his general overall makeup balance. And as you see, again, this is not quite enough. So I looked at their team needs, and they were looking for a second baseman. I go, okay, you know what? I've got Chris Owings here, and his actually ability to hit lefties should play pretty well because a guy like Kevin Biggio sometimes struggles against lefties. So a guy like Chris Owings should be a nice add for their bench to really help them out. So we will complete that trade. And then we will move on to the next one. And was looking and trying to figure out who can I trade Charlie Blackmon to. Couldn't really find any teams where he made sense to go until I went and I looked back at the White Sox. And, you know, the White Sox could really use a left-handed bat in their lineup. They could use some outfield help for the next couple of years. Adam Eaton is killing it this year. Not in real life, but in this game, he is killing it. So they don't necessarily need anybody for the outfield, but if you look at Andrew Vaughn, who's their current DH, he's really struggling, probably could be sent back to the minors and use a little bit extra seasoning. So I thought, oh, okay, this makes sense pretty here. I tried to get a couple of guys that I thought would be fair trades, but if you look at something like Miguel Rodolfo, they don't want to do this because I don't know. But you go and they'll say, oh yeah, we'll trade you our 19-year-old starting pitcher, Matthew Thompson, who has B potential. And I said, normally I'd say, you know what, I wouldn't do that because I feel like I'm exploiting him a little bit. But, you know, the White Sox got such good pitching that's so advanced already. Didn't really see much of a reason to kind of not do it. So I went and I did this trade as well to get Matthew Thompson. Really like another high upside right-handed starting pitcher. Really starting to rebuild my pitching staff, which I really seriously need. I'm going to try to get as many B potential pitchers as I can, and well, hopefully a couple A's as well, because I'm going to need those guys as well. So, and now we get to the massive blockbuster trade that I guarantee you nobody saw coming, even myself, and I'm so excited about this trade. We are going to trade John Gray, and we are going to trade Raimel Tapia. So you got to think, oh, wow, okay, that's a pretty good trade. You know, that's a pretty good return for some team. Actually, there's one more piece I forgot as well. We're going to add in Tyler Kinley. So we're talking 3 controllable guys, 2 of them with B potentials. Drake Gray's almost over 80. Tapia is over 80. Tyler Kinley, not great potential. He's over 30, but still plenty of time for service left for controllable. You're thinking, oh, this has got to be like the Yankees or the Dodgers or somebody trading for them. But believe it or not, I am making this trade with the Cincinnati Reds, who are right near the top of the NL Central, fighting with the Cubs and the Brewers to win the NL Central. And the reason that I thought this trade makes sense for them is all of those controllable pieces. It doesn't just get the Reds something for this year, it gets them something for coming years as well. And when I came to the Reds, the first guy you knew I had to go to, I had to go to that flamethrower, Hunter Green. B potential, 20 years old, 6'6" overall, 97 miles an hour. Dude throws smoke, and I wanted him, and I got him. Then I started to look at some other guys. I zoomed in on Jose Garcia to give me some kind of a shortstop to fill in immediately for Trevor Story. Like his contact power could be a little bit better, but he's a great defender. Should be a nice plug-and-play guy. Might keep him at AAA for a little bit more seasoning. We'll see how things kind of shake out from here. And then to top off the trade, because I'm giving them such good value in terms of Gray, Tapia, and Kinley, I wanted another B potential player in Reese Hines. Third baseman, B potential, 20 years old, 61 overall. Strong defender, decent batting numbers. Not performing super well in AA, but we're gonna work on that. We're gonna change that around as well. So look at this blockbuster. I get 3 B potential guys back from the Reds, and they're getting Gray, Tapia, and Kinley. Massive, massive trade here. Both sides, I think, are going to do really well because of that trade. And then finally, last guy I'm looking to move, main guy, Scott Oberg. And we're also going to add in Daniel Bard. I didn't add him in as first as I was building this deal. But when I was building the deal from what I got returned from the Astros, it made sense to throw in another relief pitcher because their bullpen is kind of shoddy and could use a couple of guys. They really could use Oberg because they need another high overall relief pitcher. But it looks like Daniel Bard could play for them as well and help them out. So I jumped on the opportunity to make this trade. And I could have done the trade without Daniel Bard if I did not ask for Taylor Jones. But I really, really wanted him. I love those contact and power stats against lefties. So I wanted to bring him in, try to get him some playing time, see if I can catch lightning in a bottle, get that potential bump, even though he's 27. And then the main piece in return I'm getting from him, from the Astros here, is going to be Christian Javier. Now, trade might be a little bit unbalanced, unfavored towards me because Javier, B potential, 76 overall, only 24 years old. But, you know, Astros, they got a lot of good pitching already, and then they got some pitchers behind him who are younger, in like Forrest Whitley and Hunter Brown. Plus, when you look at it, Scott Oberg, he's a pretty good pitcher. Probably wouldn't cost too much for them to re-sign him if they wanted to. Daniel Bard, he's pitching pretty well as well. Could have him for another year. So I thought that this trade seemed pretty fair, so I went for it and I did it. And those are my big-time moves I am making at this trade deadline. So, wow, that's a lot of trades up there. I got to say, this Reds trade, I'm so super, super excited for it. I think that's a massive blockbuster. I think that both teams are going to really seriously benefit from this trade. I like the return that I got. I'm very excited to see what Hunter Green can do in our system as we try to develop as much pitching as we can possibly do. And Jose Garcia should very quickly find himself in the majors. So I got some moves to make. I actually need to cut one person. That's less than I thought it was going to be. I definitely thought I was going to end up cutting like 3 or 4 guys, but not too bad. I'm going to go do this stuff off screen instead of making you guys watch all this little stuff, move some guys around, and maybe get some new guys into the majors, move some of the prospects around in Double and Triple A. And I will see you guys probably at the end of the minor league season. We'll sim to the end of the regular season for the MLB and the playoffs and see who wins the World Series and see if the Reds maybe can take that title home with that deal we sent them. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you for checking it out. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about those trades that I made, and I'll catch you on the next one.